After my last few videos taking a look into Supercell's recent antics, I kept getting the same comments again and again. Clash Royale's the worst, do a video on Clash Royale, Clash Royale's pay to win. And boy oh boy are you guys right. Long-time players are slowly but steadily leaving the game in their millions day by day after being pushed out for refusing to pay ridiculous sums of money to stay competitive. I can safely say that Clash Royale is by far Supercell's most pay-to-win game. Nothing else is even close. If you're a Clash of Clans or Brawl Stars player, you've got it lucky compared to CR players. With that being said, let's take a look at exactly how Supercell destroyed Clash Royale. But let's at least start with a couple of positives about the game. Clash Royale might be famous for being a pay-to-win, almost unplayable mess, but that doesn't mean that the game hasn't been successful. In fact, it's Supercell's second highest grossing game ever, having made over $3 billion, beaten only by Clash of Clans, although I expect Brawl Stars will overtake it very quickly. To put that into perspective, this free card game has made about as much money as Minecraft. But in order to make that much money from a supposedly free game, Supercell had to really milk the game's players, which is also what's ironically led to Clash Royale's downfall. By trying to squeeze as much revenue as possible out of the game, Supercell has scared off so many players that they're actually beginning to make less money as a result, and of course the player count is dropping too. The game's clearly been on a slow and steady decline, but the game's future as a pay-to-win mess was cemented with the most controversial update to possibly any Supercell game, which was Evolutions. Basically, Evolutions are buffs you can apply to cards, and these things are insane. Evolutions were by far the most broken cards in CR history. I've never seen any feature in any Supercell game get this much flack, and it is completely deserved. They're so good that if you don't have them at a higher level and your opponent does, you've lost before the match even starts. And this is still the case over a year later, although they've dropped other, even more pay-to-win stuff since. When Evolutions first dropped, there were 4 to pick from: Royal Giant, Firecracker, Barbarian, and Skeletons. And how do you get them? Well, if you want them right away, you have to give Supercell money, of course. You could instantly unlock all of them for a bit over $100, or alternatively, you can pick up shards. But if you don't want to spend money, getting a hold of these shards is practically impossible. The other more common route is to pay for the Diamond Pass, which gives you 6 shards, which would take 6 months for a free player to pick up. So you've got a 6 times speed advantage for picking up Evolutions if you're paying for the pass over free to play, which is a massive gap. Most Supercell games do not give this much of an advantage to paying players. Now, I'm not going to spend money on this game for the sake of proving this point, since Orange Juice Gaming, use code OJ, has demonstrated just how pay to win Evolutions are.
Okay. What happens if I buy this on a level 0 account? Okay. That was a lot. That just unlocked Barbarians for me? I don't even need 4 evolutions on this account. What did I just do? Oh, this gave me 4 book of books. That's so dumb. And then another book. And now I have level 14 skeletons on my 0 trophy account.
He bought the $139.99 pack on a brand new account and instantly had a level 14 skeleton evolution to play with. And that's on a 0 trophy account. I mean, imagine how frustrated you would be to come up against a brand new player and they whip out one of them. But wait, it gets even worse for free-to-play players. So you know how it takes about 6 months to pick up 6 shards so you can finally get a free evolution? Well, by the time you've got yours, Supercell has definitely nerfed it, and there's a new massively OP evolution everyone is playing instead. And if you want to get that one before it's nerfed, well, you'll need to pay for the Diamond Pass, which is $15 a month. It's got to the point where at bare minimum, to have the best cards available, you will need to spend at least a few $100s a year. And it's not like Brawl Stars or Clash of Clans where paying money makes it a lot easier. I mean that it's straight up impossible to compete with pay-to-win players abusing the overpowered new evolutions, which are constantly being dropped. Okay, so evolutions alone are straight up game breaking, but Clash Royale players have a ton more grievances than just that. How about the fact that over the years they have tripled the cost of the pass, and you actually get less in it than before? I mean, that's the sort of change I would add if I wanted my players to hate my guts too, but come on Supercell, that is just undeniably evil. I got a few ridiculous comments on my other videos from Supercell fanboys talking about how they had to raise the prices of passes because of inflation. Like, yeah, by $1, but taking the price of a pass from $5 to $15 is not due to inflation, that is due to greed. It's completely unacceptable in any business to do this and not get called out. Like, imagine if Tesla were like, okay, Model 3s are now $150,000, but they're slower and worse in every way. It's just baffling to me that an entire group of people all signed off on that. It's insane. There's also the appalling level 15 update. If evolutions are the single worst Supercell update ever made, level 15 is the second worst. When they added level 15 to Clash Royale, it wasn't as simple as something like a new town hall, where everyone is made to slowly progress their way up to maxing out again. By the way, there were already max cards in the game. No, seriously, level 14 cards were called max cards, but they're not max. Level 15 is, except that level 15 cards are called elite, because I guess Supercell doesn't understand the meaning of the word max. I mean, how infuriating must that be as a hardcore Clash Royale player to have grinded for years and years to finally have max cards, only for them to change their minds and add yet another level on top of max. I have a theory about why they did this despite it being such an unpopular decision. Supercell obviously realized that there were barely any new players coming onto the game, so they decided the only real way to make boatloads of money was to milk their most committed, loyal fans instead. And we know this for a fact because the game basically gets no new downloads yet makes tens of millions of dollars a month. Because why would you ever let your biggest fans be happy with your game? That would be silly. Hold on. Wait, you're telling me that Brawl Stars fans are happy and the game makes more money and it's not pay to win? Well, someone clearly needs to tell the Clash Royale team that, because clearly they missed the memo that treating players fairly equals money. Supercell straight up created a two-tiered society in the game with level 15. To go from level 14 to level 15 on a card instantly, all you need are a ton of elite wild cards. And how do you get them? Well, you can buy them, of course, or alternatively grind the game out for months and months, constantly losing to paying players along the way until you hate yourself enough to pay Supercell. If you're willing to pay up front, you could instantly max your deck and wipe out any free-to-play scrubs back to back, since level 15 cards were made so strong. And it's not like the advantage that paying players have was for the first week after the update came out or something. Upgrading your cards to level 15 as a free player was so painstakingly long and drawn out that many very good players have reportedly taken a year to catch up, and that's if they've managed to catch up. But here's the even better part. Thanks to the constantly changing meta of the game at a competitive level, and also Supercell adding more and more broken pay-to-win stuff into the game, even if you have paid to get a handful of level 15 cards, that still isn't enough, because you're going to need all of your cards to be level 15, not just a few of them. And since there are over 100 cards, you better get back to mowing some lawns, because goddamn, that is a lot of money you're going to need to throw down the drain. Suffice to say, Clash Royale has seen better days then. At the end of the day, when the top level players who pay the bills finally get sick of your game and leave, the rest of the player base is soon to follow, and follow they have. Take a look at this player count graph from Active Player. Those dips down there, that is hundreds of thousands, sometimes more than 1 million players leaving the game in a single month. Last time I saw a graph that red was when we were talking about Boom Beach. There's also this guy who claims that just on Samsung devices alone, over 600,000 players have quit the game. There are also towers for like $50 which are game breaking, and several other pay to win bits and bobs littered all over the game, but I think we've got the idea when it comes to just how broken this game is. And you know who could have told them these updates would ruin the game? The community, the people who actually play it. But it's so blatantly obvious at this point that they have absolutely no respect or consideration for Clash Royale players, that the entire Clash Royale subreddit has now turned into a forum where people discuss how much they hate the game. It's absolutely hilarious, and I definitely think you should take a look for yourself. I know it's a mobile game, and it's not that serious, but let me put it to you this way. I think Clash Royale is the canary in the coal mine for the remaining Supercell players as well as the wider gaming community. Sure, your game might not be as bad as Clash Royale and you should consider yourself lucky, but this game should be seen as a warning sign for just how far large game studios are willing to go to turn a profit. They will happily and knowingly destroy a game and just run that sucker into a ground without a care in the world if it's a profitable decision. And unfortunately, based on the revenue stats we looked at earlier, there's no reason for Supercell to change anything. The only way I see this going is for the other 5 Supercell games to get progressively worse. Prove me wrong, Supercell, prove me wrong. This is the sad thing though. Brawl Stars has been hugely successful, especially over the last year, and it's because they actually listen to the community and they try to prevent the game from becoming like Clash Royale. Sure, they've got passes and various time-saving measures, but the free-to-play experience is still way better regardless. But there's a much higher chance that all Supercell games become progressively more pay-to-win, just like Clash Royale, than all Supercell games becoming more free-to-play and fun, like Brawl Stars. As I say, please prove us wrong, Supercell. Prove that you actually care about the players who've stuck with your game for 8 years at this point. 8 long, painful years, and you still have a handful of players who haven't left. But I promise you, if level 16 comes out, Clash Royale is going to be Boom Beach all over again. And then that will leave you with 2 good games, Heyday, and 3 piles of complete dog shit.